Two groups are asking an Arkansas judge to strike down several voting restrictions. They say the restrictions are unconstitutional and will disenfranchise the state's voters. The lawsuit was filed by the League of Women Voters of Arkansas and Arkansas United. One measure removes the ability to cast a ballot without showing ID, even if they sign a sworn affidavit. Another keeps anyone other than voters within 100 feet of a polling place. The last requires absentee voter signatures to match the signature on their registration. The groups say there's no proof there was voter fraud in the last election. Therefore, the new restrictions are unnecessary. A county judge in Georgia has ruled that absentee ballots in the state's most populous county can be unsealed and reviewed by electors that claim election workers counted fraudulent ballots. The group says it isn't seeking a particular result, but claims election workers didn't give an honest count or recount. Now, despite the results of the ballot review, the outcome of the election will not change. Lastly, some lawmakers are pushing for a fourth round of stimulus checks. Several Democrats are pushing President Biden to include recurring payments in future legislation. Experts say any future payments would likely be based on people's 2020 tax returns. The previous checks were based on 2019 returns, which means anyone who had a pay increase in 2020 would most likely not be outside the income bracket eligible for future payments. But there are several possible options that include recurring payments, raising minimum wage, or extending federal unemployment assistance. But these stories do bring us to our political plays of the week. We have Democrat analyst Michael John Gray and Republican analyst Bill Vickery joining us here this morning. Guys, great to see you on this Monday. I want to go back to the first story I talked about the League of Women Voters of Arkansas and Arkansas United filing the lawsuit on Wednesday against three voting restrictions, or just saying that they wanted a judge to strike down several voting restrictions. But I'm curious, how could we see this all play out? And is it likely that the laws here could be reversed?
Well, one, let's be clear. You call them voting restrictions. And to some degree, that's what this is all about. This is just a battle for the narrative. This won't have a chance in court, but it's a way for these lefty organizations to try to brand these things as voting restrictions, when in actual fact, there's a lot of ballot integrity at stake here. This is what Democrats nationally are trying to do. They won elections when they had big unions that could organize blocks of votes, that could intimidate voters, and then they would show up at the polls. They want to take the polling place out of elections. They want to turn it back into block captains. They want you to have to vote in front of several of your friends in the living room on a Tuesday night. You gather all those up, you go to a trillion drop boxes, and you put them in a drop box. Make no mistake about this. Whether you have to show an ID, by the way, you have to show an ID to get on a plane. You have to show an ID to buy something with a credit card. You have to show an ID to pick up tickets at a baseball stadium. I'm unclear as to why this showing of an ID is somehow, quote, a restriction. To me, it just enhances ballot integrity, too. Of course, the signatures should match on your absentee ballot as well as your own. I mean, that's just common sense. So make no mistake about this here, Suzanne. This is all about the narrative and trying to brand things.
Michael John, what do you think?
We call them lefty organizations and we challenge them. We call them patriots when they claim fraud. I don't understand the language there. But the fact is, I can pull out my driver's license, the last check I signed, and something else, and I'll guarantee you my signatures don't exactly match. And you may look at them and say they don't match either. That's the problem with the signature requirement like that. People don't understand that. Yeah, it should be the same name, the same person should be signing it. But none of us, unless you're a really practiced politician or somebody that's used to signing autographs, signs their name the same way every time. We don't have a problem. We didn't have fraud in Arkansas. No one is intimidating voters. No one is trying to take away the polling place. This is righty organizations, to borrow Bill's lexicon there, righty organizations trying to, once again, pit people versus people and saying, hey, let's make it easier to vote. Let's just make it easier to vote instead of causing all this confusion. If somebody wants to do an absentee ballot early, they don't have time to drive the 2 hours to the county next door, to the courthouse in the town next door to drop a ballot off. Let's create some ballot boxes. Let's make it easier. This is not about, the arguments against it are just about dividing us further.
All right, 20 seconds each here. What would you say a majority of Arkansans feel about these new laws?
Well, I mean, they voted for the people that passed it. I doubt that you see any elected officials suddenly lose an election come next year because they voted for these laws. I think they're very popular.
Michael John?
I don't think they understand the nuances of it. I think you do the coffee shop politics of you can use a driver's license to get on a plane, which sounds great in a coffee shop, but a lot of policy sounds great in a coffee shop, doesn't work in person. We'll see. Bill's probably right. Nobody gets voted out, but it's a damn shame when it gets harder to vote instead of easier.
All right, Bill and Michael, John, thanks so much for joining us for this morning's Political Place. We'll see you back here next week, and we'll be right back with the last check of your forecast.